What's up, everybody? Let me connect to Wi-Fi real quick. It says my signal's weak. Okay, we should be good. Add Morgan. Approve. Add. Morgan, it says it's adding you, so.
There we go.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Share it real quick. I just wanted to make sure you were on there before I went through all
I
that.
am on here. My face is really bright. Let me see if I can fix my lighting a little bit. Oh my gosh. It's fine. Whatever.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How's your ankle? Or your leg? Was it your ankle?
It was my ankle. It's doing way better. The bruise is prominent now, but
Yeah.
walking on it's not as big of a deal as it was.
Yeah, well that's good. Do you still have the little scooter thing, or did you ever get one of those?
No, yeah, I totally went and rented one. I couldn't
Okay,
do it on
good.
living alone and taking care of a dog and trying to do stuff like you cannot do it on crutches. It's so near impossible.
Yeah, that sounds like a pain. Okay. There we go. That's fine. Sorry, I'm
It's literally a pain.
That's funny. It's literally a
Dad joke.
pain. That's okay. It's a dad joke. It's a good dad joke. Okay, let me.
I got it shared in the AWAKEN Vlogcast, so now it's
Okay.
just for you.
Okay, I'm gonna share it.
I like your eyeshadow. Did you do like some smoky eye or something different today?
A lot of people have said that. They're like, your makeup's so good today. It's black eyeshadow on top.
Yeah, so like
It's
the
the
smoky
shadow
look.
I usually like line, but I was like, I'll just put it on my whole lid.
Just
So
do the whole thing.
I'm doing Rockstar today with my pink hair and like
Well, you look like a
a
rock star.
smoky eye. So yeah,
Forward.
it's all good. Sweet. Oh man. Okay, let me get it here. Okay. Let's see.
What's up, Lucky? Lucky's watching. Lucky just had surgery. Hope you're
I
doing Reiki
saw
on your
that.
way,
Yeah, I hope
because you'll feel like
good.
so much quicker if you
Like,
are.
Reiki works, man.
Yeah, it really does.
I think I always say it wrong because Jeremy makes fun of me. Is it Reiki or I always say Reiki?
It's Reiki. So think of
Reiki.
like raking leaves and
Reiki.
then add an E on the end.
Reiki.
This is Oklahoma.
Reiki.
Lots of people say a lot of things
I
wrong.
know. He's like, that's not
Accent.
right. You should know this. And I'm like, let me live my best life, man, and pronounce how I want to. That's
Who really makes the rule if it's right or wrong anyway? So
I
I'm just
know.
like,
Who knows?
if
Like,
people
who
say it, I'm
cares?
just like, okay, you say it that way, and I'm gonna say it this way, and we'll meet in the middle. It's not a big deal. So
Exactly. Exactly. We both know what I mean, even if I say
yeah.
it wrong. It's fine.
I mean, I have people say Ranky, like add an N in there, like Rainky. I've had
Ranky?
people say that, or
Ranky? Huh.
I don't know. I've just
That's
heard it
fine.
all different ways
Yeah.
living in Oklahoma and like
Yeah.
teaching people what it is and educating them. It's
Like
pretty interesting.
Reiki.
So
I like it like rake, like you rake leaves. Like that will
yeah,
stick in my
that,
mind. And I'm like,
that's why I say
Reiki.
that.
And
Yeah.
now if I'm raking any leaves, I'll be like, Reiki the leaves. Like, just like a big nerd. Oh man. I can't believe
All
it's already
right.
Wednesday again.
I know. I'm excited. Did you get it all shared? Are we everywhere
Yep,
you
I
want
got
to
it. I got it all shared and we
be?
are good to go.
Well, welcome
Yeah.
everybody to episode 8, which is the infinity symbol. I love it.
It's a good one.
Today we're talking about self-care. I got to pick this week, so that's what I chose.
Yes. It's a good
So,
topic.
yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about what is self-care even and why is it so important? Because it really is to live a balanced and well-fueled life for anything. Self-care is so important.
So important. And I feel like really neglected by maybe not a lot, but it's just I don't know. It almost has like a stigma around it, like it's selfish. Like
Yes.
self-care is selfish. You should always be giving and like just giving yourself away and like it's selfish to take care of yourself and it's totally not true. That's not how it's supposed to
No.
work.
Because, so one of my favorite quotes, and I use this all the time, so anybody that knows me personally, or even a client or whatever, has probably heard me say this a million times, and I'm never going to stop, because it is one of my favorite quotes, and it's something I had to teach myself, because I am a giver, like my whole life I've been a giver, right? To the point where I would deplete myself, or,
Yeah.
exhaust myself, or, get screwed over, or whatever, it's because I didn't have
Yeah.
boundaries, and you learn that. But my favorite quote is, you can't give from an empty cup.
Hmm.
So you can still be a giver, but you can't give to others without giving to yourself first. It's like if you had a gas tank of gasoline, right? And you
Yeah.
had this much left in it, and you're like, oh, I'm going to give this to this person so they can get this far with this gas.
Yeah.
And you think you're doing everybody a favor, but now they didn't get very far and you're out of gas.
Yeah.
So when you fill your own cup up first and then you give, then you're able to give more. It's not like there's no lack of abundance. Like just because you give to yourself more doesn't mean you're not going to give to other people more. Like everybody wins with that. So that's
Exactly.
one of the things I use all the time.
Yeah. And it's
I
like
had to
people
learn
don't
that
really
myself.
they don't really understand that. And I often wonder, I'm like, where did that start? Like with self-care being selfish. Like how did that even become a thing where people feel bad about taking care of themselves?
I'm turning this up real quick. I think it's just because that's just another program. Like we talk on here about programs all the time.
Hmm.
And I think intentions, right, have everything to do with it. So if your intention is you're not doing it to be selfish, you're doing it to actually help yourself so that you can help others, that's totally
Hmm.
different than if you were doing it just to be egotistical and I don't even know because I can't wrap my head around it, but like whatever
Yeah.
that person does, like
Yeah. Yeah.
to like hurt others or whatever, like because there's a difference, I guess people kind of tie the two together between self-care, taking care of yourself, taking care of yourself first,
Hmm.
versus the people who are out there just like stepping over everybody and
Right, like being
taking
like
people down
super
along the way. It's not the
selfish
same
and
thing. Those are two separate things.
yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
almost like that, I don't know, like that word, that selfish word just kind of messes things up. But that happens a lot with words, like definitions of words and
yes.
how we communicate with words and are in. There's the energy behind it, but then people get caught up on the words. I know I've had to work on that a lot.
Hmm.
Just communicating with people when I say one word, they take it totally different than how I mean it, just
Yeah.
because their definition is different. So then you end up having to like backtrack and you're like, wait, whoa, we've had a disconnect somewhere because that's totally not what I meant by that word. But from your perspective, you are seeing it totally different than I'm meaning it.
Yeah. And see, like when I took NLP training, we actually did that in the NLP training. So there's like a room of like 100 plus people, and they will do that. They'll ask you to define a word, right?
Yeah.
They'll say love, right? And they're like, they want you to write down 5 things when you hear the word love, what it means to you.
Hmm.
And they do this for everybody in the room. Then at the end, after like a couple minutes, they are like, okay, well, this is the word we came up with. And they have somebody raise their hand that wants to share
Hmm.
and say they'll think of intimacy, is what somebody says. They'll have the rest of the room, okay, who, when they thought of the word love, thought of the intimacy? And
Hmm.
people raise their hand or not. And it's just interesting to see,
Hmm.
like you said, the definition we all have for different words. And that's why I use some words, to some people that might be like trigger words or whatever, but that's not what
Hmm.
it means to me.
Yeah.
Like I know on here numerous times I've cussed and whatever, and there's some people that are triggered by that, but that's not what
Yeah.
there's an intention for everything
I
that
do
I
that
do.
too. Yeah. Yeah.
So just know there's a reason I'm doing it.
Right.
And it's not any negative way, obviously. My intentions are never negative. Always, always positive.
Yes.
So
And that's a good point because swearing is a big thing. Like some people are like, "Oh my gosh, like you said the F word, like you're a
I've
terrible
had
person."
people,
And you're like,
I've
"It's
literally
just
had
like
people
a
unfollow
word."
me because I cuss. I have had
Hmm.
people in the past or more recently literally
Yeah.
tell me that I can't be spiritual and cuss. Like those two things don't go together. And I'm just
That's
like, that's your belief.
yeah,
That's
like
fine that that's your belief,
okay.
but you can't impose that on me because I don't believe that. Words
Yeah,
are words, and words only have the meaning that we give to them. And that's not the meaning I give to them. So
exactly. That's
words don't
interesting.
have that kind of power over me, at least not those kind of words. I use more
Yeah.
powerful words than that.
Yeah. That's
If you know
I'm
what I
like
mean.
it's a way to convey how you're feeling like in the moment or to express. So but that's interesting. And yeah, people can choose to do that or not. Like it's up to them. It doesn't if they don't want to be around it, they don't have to.
That's
But we
fine
don't
too.
have to censor ourselves for the handful
Yes.
of people that feel that way. We just need to be who
Be
we
ourselves.
are. And then there's going to be other people who are like, oh my gosh, I say F that all the time and I love it. And like, I totally get
Yeah.
it. And like, you bond over it almost. You can bond over so many things.
Yeah, I agree. We missed a comment. I'm going to see what Dan said.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
Dan.
hi, Lee. Dan said, we need time to ourselves to stay sane. We also need to connect with others on a close personal level as well. We're social creatures, 100%.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, that is a form of self-care, right? There are those people who are like extroverts, right? They can just
Hmm.
go out there all the time. Then you
What's
have
wrong with
introverts.
those people? Those
Nothing.
extroverts. I'm just kidding.
And then you have the introverts, right? Like, I'm one of those introverts. As I've gotten
Yeah.
older, I'm becoming a mixture of both.
Yeah.
When I'm in certain
Same. Yeah.
surroundings and areas, I can become extroverted, but it's even more important when I go home to recharge and replug because I do tend to lean more toward the introverted side.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's another thing in itself. Just those labels, they've been like, you have to be this way to be an introverted this way. And I'm
Hmm.
like, no, you can be both. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
mixture of both, depending on
Hmm.
my situation, who I'm around, what I'm talking about, what I'm doing. But my self care is after I do those things, I know that I need to go recharge or whatever because I'm not going to be fully aligned. I'm not going to be charged.
Right.
And I'm not going to be in the best state, if that makes sense. Like, um, we talk about vibrations. If I give, and I know my battery is now down, it could take like the littlest thing and it could
You'll
just
snap.
set me off or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't like to set me off because I'm not, anybody that knows
Right.
me know I'm not that person, but I don't
Yeah.
know how else to explain that. Like,
Yeah. I
it could
think
just be a different reaction than I would normally have.
right. And
I don't know how
a
else to
different,
put that.
yeah, not abnormal, but just maybe an
Depleted. I
uncommon
mean,
reaction. Yeah,
yeah.
just uncommon for you. And I'm the same way. I used to be super. I am an introvert. It used to be really bad, but as I've grown and kind of, evolved, I'm able to be social. I'm a lot more social with people that you do vibe with, talking about
Yeah.
frequencies and vibrations. I will really open up, and I'm almost charged a little bit by those
Hmm.
interactions, but I still need that time to back off and have my own space. Like the end of the day, um, after the kids are in bed, I have three boys, I homeschool. It's there's
Morgan's a busy
a lot of
lady.
energy around the house, which I love. I chose it. I wouldn't change it. But the quiet at the end of the day, even when my husband's sleeping, because he's a morning person, I'm a night owl, and it's just quiet. It's
Yeah.
peaceful, and I thrive on that because I just relish that so much. It's
Yeah.
such a important part of my day. Um, and if I don't get that, it does affect me. That is my
Yeah.
recharge time almost
Yeah.
because everyone's like, well, you recharge when you sleep, but you're
No, it's not the
unconscious. Like
same.
your body
Yeah.
may be resting, but it's not you.
That's
Like I
only
want
the
to,
default. You're consciously
right.
choosing to recharge while you're
Yeah,
aware of what's going on. You're
right.
being very intentful. It's different.
Exactly. I want to consciously recharge and just enjoy that time to do whatever it is I want to do, which
Yeah.
kind of leads us back to self care. Is like, you know what? If I want to read a book, I can. If I want to
Mhm.
take a bath, I can. If I want to watch some Netflix show, I can do that. Or if I want to do nothing, I can do that too. Heck, if I were to
Yeah.
go like play with my kids' Legos, I wouldn't, but I could. Like, I could
I
just
love Legos. I would play
decide.
Legos.
Yeah, the Legos are cool. But I'd rather watch Netflix, honestly. Or paint. I should do more art.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
but
sure that
that's,
even in a way, working on your bust is a form of self-care for you.
that's a
When you're
good point
creating something.
because I've really enjoyed that. Now that's more of that's manual labor and I get
Yeah.
sweaty and kind of gross, but I do enjoy that because it's me usually like the kids are inside in quiet
Yeah.
time or Jeremy's watching them and I just go out and it's quiet and I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Even with the power tools, which are loud, it's a space that I create for myself where I enjoy where I'm at and what I'm doing, and I'm also manifesting while I'm doing that because I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I can like visualize this here and visualize like the beach out my window as I'm going to be sitting in this chair that's going to be right here, and so it's a very relaxing, as crazy as that seems, time for me. But it's what I enjoy. And that's what matters. It doesn't matter if people are like, why are you working on a bus? That's like gross and disgusting and weird. And why not just buy an RV? And I'm like, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that. I like to create. I don't like the cookie cutter stuff. I want to create something that's
unique.
Unique in me. And then when I look at it or other people look at it and admire it, I can be like, that was me. That was my blood, sweat, and tears and energy.
It's the energy you're putting in to create something. This was something, I mean, that is the essence of manifesting. This was once a thought in your head and you're bringing it into the 3D reality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so cool.
I love that. I love that kind of stuff.
And kind of like what you said too, like, so for you, you know, working on the bus was doing that. And that's what I talk to people about meditation, right? Meditation is not just sitting in a position just going on, like, yes, that's a form of meditation, but there are so many different ways you can meditate. And meditating itself is anything that you can do, like, that you can just get lost in for hours, right? That you look up and you're like, wow, it's already been that long, or something like that, that you just feel good doing. In a way, when we drive, we're actually meditating. Because by default, we know, like, I know
like, how'd I get here? Like, I know I was driving, but it's been like 5 minutes.
Because you got in that meditative state.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, sometimes when I'm driving, like, if I'm going to an appointment or something like that, I will do one of two things. I'll either turn on some music without ads, like just music, my state change music is what I call it, that makes me feel good, that I can listen to that song over and over, and I just feel good vibrationally from it.
Yeah.
Or a podcast or a book that I'm learning, you know, because I know that while I'm driving, I'm getting in that meditative state. So I'm able to retain more in my subconscious mind that I actually know that I am. Like, does that make sense? Like, if I'm trying to consciously remember this book, like, sometimes there's things that my brain's like, what? And I have to read it like 4 times. But if I can get in that state and then do that, it's going to be in there subconsciously, and I can retrieve it better. That's what I've noticed for myself. I don't know if that's like that for anybody else, but
I know with me, when I'm able to go somewhere, I don't have the kids in the car, I love loud music. And there's certain, it's not just any music, but just being able to turn the music up loud and whatever, like I love Imagine Dragons lately. Like, they have really good stuff, and just the message in it. Like, I'll get like the goosebumps even, like we're just at certain parts, and it just, and for whatever reason, it's just, it is a meditative state, and my brain is just, I don't know, it's thinking more and creating more and manifesting, just, and it sounds kind of crazy, but I'm like, man, like, there are songs you just play on repeat, like, really loud. It's like I want to surround myself in the vibrations of the music, and it's
and the way your mind works too, like, if you have certain memories, and this is what I know about the brain, right? The wiring, how state changes, how you can trigger something. That's like when you hear a song, and it takes you back to, oh, I remember when we were in 6th grade skating to this. Like, you have a specific memory. So songs do that, right? So I have specific songs that I know if I listen to it, it's going to take me right back to that state I was in, that same feeling, that same vibration. And that's why I choose the songs, like you said, the ones that you just feel, and you can feel the vibrations. I don't know. It's weird to explain, but you just feel alive when you listen to it. You're just like, oh, I just feel so good right now.
Anyone watching, do you have that with music? Do you emotionally connect with certain songs or certain 100%. Artists? And
100%.
Yeah.
I can, like, ever since I was a kid, I've done that with music. Like, I used to listen to, what is it called? It was like Pure Volume or something.com. It's basically like, before bands get big, this is where they upload their music, right?
Okay, yeah.
Before they make it to the big time. And I remember specifically some bands that are huge now that I used to listen on there, and I would just feel it, because I don't just listen to the music. I feel what it makes me feel. I pay attention to lyrics, like, what are they actually saying? And, like,
me too, yeah.
I remember specifically certain bands that I would listen to their stuff on there before they got big, and I'm like, man, they're going to be huge. And they ended up being huge. Yeah. Like, I was not wrong on 99% of them.
Called it, because they're awesome.
So yeah, music really resonates with me. And then being empathic, like picking up on energy like that, or like, you know, the movies, certain things you watch, and you're just like, oh, that little dog. I took my mom to see
the animal. I can't watch animal movies because they just make me sad, and I just can't do it.
Well, I took my mom to see A Dog's Journey for Mother's Day. Yeah. And if anybody has not seen that, bring a box of tissues.
And I'm not going to see it because I don't like to cry.
Yeah, it's a sequel to A Dog's Purpose, but we basically both cried the entire time during the movie. Right. Like, good cries, but sad cries, and it was, so I connect with stuff like that.
Yeah, I like superhero movies where someone's like saving the world, and there's like drama. I'm like, I want to cry because a puppy died. Like, I don't want that. but they are good movies. So I'm glad that you like them. But I like Captain Marvel, where she's like kicking ass and.
Yeah, I've never seen
Yeah.
Captain Marvel. It's one of the ones I haven't seen, so I
Oh,
need
it's
to
a
check
good
it out.
one. That's a good one. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's go back on some comments here.
Okay, you got it. I don't know where we left off. I don't know
After
how far.
Dan, let's see. Debbie Jo says, I was a total introvert when I was younger. I wonder if that's just
Same.
as you're, well, I mean, there's like really
There's some
outgoing
people that aren't, though. It
Yeah.
just depends on situations, like maybe your closest family. Are they pretty introverted? Or are they more reserved? Like, because
Right.
again, remember you pick up most of your programs
Yeah.
at younger age.
I wonder
So
if people that are more introverted when they're younger, if they evolve into maybe they can be more extroverted, and then vice versa. Maybe people that were like super extroverted, do they ever get older and they're like, oh, I want to calm down a little bit, maybe
I think so.
do more, like, I wonder if there's that balance that happens for the majority of
100%.
people as they hopefully are evolving throughout their life and gaining new
Yeah, you should never be the
experiences.
same as you are, like,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a pendulum, and you go too far one way, too far the other way. You need to find a balance between the two. So I think that
True.
there is a way for both parties to change.
Balance is awesome. Mary Jo says THC helps in that situation. THC has
True.
its place. Yes. Jennifer says Aurora. She gets me in the zone. Is that an artist? I've never heard of Aurora. I can't even say Aurora. I have trouble with my R's. Aurora.
I feel like I've heard of that before. I don't know. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
So,
Let's see. Mary Jo says, I like how loud music actually makes me feel I can actually feel it. Yes, that's it. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like it's surrounding you like a bubble, and you get the goosebumps and the tingles. And
I remember
love
even
loud
being
music.
like when I was in like elementary school, like on the days of a football game, the marching band, they'd line us in the halls and the marching band would come down playing the fight song or whatever.
Yeah.
I specifically remember what are those big drums? The huge
Oh, the
ones
ones
that
they're
are
holding in front of them like this.
Yes.
I don't know what they're
Those
called,
whenever
but
I could literally feel them in my heart and my chest. Like I just remember I can literally go right back to that feeling. And
yeah.
I'm just like, whoa. That's how a lot of music feels like for me.
I notice that too when I have my music really loud. Like if I focus on it, you can feel the vibrations in your body. And that's like, you're like, oh my gosh, like that feels cool.
Well, and that's why I really like, and I think we've talked about them a little bit on here, not really in depth, but we've talked about binaural beats.
Yes.
If you guys have never checked those out, you need to. They will change your life. There's so many different ones for different things. There's ones specifically for healing, for sleep, for anxiety, depression, certain frequencies for certain chakras, like so much stuff.
It's
and
a
you can find it on
different
Spotify.
tone in each ear, right? Or
Yeah, so it plays one
goes
tone
back
in
and
one ear,
forth.
one in the other, and it's supposed to make each side of your
It's like
brain
a
connect.
connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
with
Now
each
those
other.
are best for headphones, right? Is it as effective
Best
if
listen-
it's
It's
not
best
on
listened to
headphones?
in headphones, yes.
Yeah.
When I do stuff with them, for the sake of not having headphones for what I do use them for, I just have them coming out of speakers. But it does, I mean, it still works, but it does
Yeah.
work best, I believe, with headphones on.
Yeah.
You guys should check them out. They're pretty trippy.
Yeah. Binaural beats.
Yep.
Right?
Spotify, YouTube, just look them up. And if you want to look for something specific, put binaural beats and then like whatever it is you're looking for.
Is that like a company or a brand, or that's just a type of music that
That's just the type of
multiple
music they are.
companies or
It's just the
studios
type
will
of music,
create?
the
Okay.
tones
Binaural beats.
themselves or whatever, or
Okay.
the frequency or hertz or whatever you want to use, the vibration. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Jennifer said, I meditate to those, love them. Yes, there are some that you can do for meditation. So
Yeah.
Yes,
I need to
check it.
get better at meditation. That's one of those things I'm always like, meditate, people, and then I'm like, Morgan, you need to meditate too. And I don't know, it's
remember,
almost
though,
like,
look at yourself. Like, are there
Yeah.
certain things that you're doing that you are meditating and you're not actually calling it that?
yeah, I mean, I did that yesterday. I was doing the dishes. You'll always hear me complain about the damn dishes because they're always there. You do them and then there's more. And I was trying to be aware of that. I'm like, okay, like, don't make this morning negative. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, how could we turn this around? And so I got my speaker from my TV and I turned on Gaia, and I forget who it was, but it was like a thing. I was like, okay, well, I'll listen to some I'll listen to some things while I'm doing the dishes. And that actually was a form of meditation for me. It made doing the dishes not suck, and I got it done. And then I ended up doing like a lot more than I ever planned to do, a lot quicker than I normally do, because it just put me in that zone where I was focusing on just working on my thoughts. And he was talking about energy, and it was about balance and how I forget what it's called, because I always forget what everything's called, but it's like you're here, but you're also here. So it's like, it was duality. And it really got my attention, and it was meditative. And like I said, I got the dishes done, and it was an enjoyable experience. But I had to really like pull the reins on myself and be like, how can we make doing the dishes a positive experience?
And you did it.
And I did it. So I was proud of myself for that, and I enjoyed it. So, but yes. I was meditating while I was doing the dishes. Because I'll be honest, as a mom with kids running around and like stuff to do, I think the thought of like just like sitting down to be like still to do nothing for a minute, like not even watch Netflix, just to do nothing is just almost stressful. Even though once I do
so many things I could be doing right now.
Right. Once I do it, I enjoy it. So I need to have Jeremy help me, because he loves to meditate. And so I need to be like, hey, remind me to meditate with you before we go to bed, just for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And couples that meditate together, that's crazy. Like, it's so powerful. Like, there's some specific meditations you can do together as a couple. Like,
Are
to get
Are
your
they like
higher
guided?
self.
Are they
Yes.
guided?
And it's like to get your higher selves to communicate with one another, so that maybe if you're not communicating well on the like 3D plane, you can do it in that plane. It's pretty awesome.
So interesting. Okay. Is it called anything, or is it like couples?
I mean, there's so many different ones. Just Google them,
Okay.
like couples meditation or something like that.
That's awesome.
But see, cleaning for me, I love cleaning. Cleaning is so meditative.
Well, you can
like
come
if
to
I'm
my
anxious
house
or
and
stressed, I will help you, like for real. Because if I'm anxious or stressed or whatever, like I will purposely find something to clean, because it's the opposite for me. It's very meditative for me.
Yeah.
And I just like being neat and knowing where things are, so I enjoy that.
Parenting, all that shit goes out the window. There's no neat and like orderly anymore. You're like, it's just chaos.
There's just stuff everywhere.
There's just stuff everywhere. I'm not even joking. There's like apples on the floor, and like a banana peel you found in the couch, and you're like, this is disgusting. Yeah. And like the baby's like climbing up like in the windowsill behind the blinds, and there's like hand marks like from sticky granola bar fingers everywhere, and you're like, I can't keep up. This is insane. But yeah, so I'm working on making cleaning a meditative experience, because it's plentiful. That opportunity is plentiful and abundant.
And that's when you talk about doing it with music, that's what we were talking about, how music in itself can help. The vibrations of music is going to raise your vibration. That's why sound therapy is even a thing, right? That's why at Transcend Wellness we do sound baths and stuff like that, because it's sound therapy, and it does raise your vibration and release any blockages or anything like that. And that's with any type of music, right? Yes. But there's also some music that can lower your vibration as well. So,
is there a program? Because I know there's certain, well, like you said, vibrations that are on, higher or lower on the scale. Is there like a tool that you could analyze a song with and be like, oh, that like this song makes me feel good, and then be like, oh, it's because it's like 528 in there or something?
I don't know off the top of my head what it is, but I know there's something out there, because I've seen it before when I was first doing a search about sound therapy and stuff. Yeah. But it was talking about how certain songs that are certain hertz, which is the vibration of the song, how the different hertz affect your mental state. So I know there's something out there, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. I'm sure if you Googled it, you'd find it.
I wonder how do I even word that? Is there a program to help me figure out vibrations of music?
Yeah,
because I've been thinking about that for a while, because I'm curious. I would like to know, like I like this music a lot. Is there something positive with the vibrations in it? Or like if I hear, because there's some music I just cannot stand. So I'd be curious to know, like, is there Is there a
like
negative vibration there? And then that gets into the conspiracy side of me. I'm like, oh, like they want to like make us mad and fight with each other. So listen to this music and
well,
all of
some
that
music
stuff.
can make you rage, so
I know there's rage music. So yeah,
I
that's
can't listen to that stuff. It makes like thinking about it makes my heart feel weird. So
I know you're like,
we're
we
just
don't even think
talking
about
about
it.
it.
Whew, get that energy away. I like it. We
Go
like
with.
the calm, cool stuff.
That's why you can also like if you're feeling anxious or frustrated or stuff like that, even just doing the sound, right? It's
Hmm.
vibrating your body. Those things can help, or humming or anything like that. It's still going to change that vibration in
Yeah.
your body just by doing that. So if you ever feel that way, you can try that. Just try humming when you feel frustrated or when you're doing something. Just like try humming. If you don't have music at your disposal,
Yeah.
you are an instrument. You can make noise
Does
and see how it helps.
anyone watching, do you notice you do that? Like if it's just quiet or you're feeling awkward or something, like you just start humming like any random tune? Because I do that sometimes. I notice that with uh, Jax, my oldest. He'll just start singing to himself or humming something, and so I think he's correcting his vibration or something.
Yeah,
So
you can tell something's off.
yeah.
I'm just scrolling back up real quick because we had a couple comments. So Dan said, think the beats would help specifically for back pain. Yes, there are ones that you can look for. I don't know if specifically for back pain, but if you look up chronic pain, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's still going to affect you.
Yeah.
You could Google binaural beats for back pain, and maybe there is something out there. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't want to tell you
Yeah.
there is if there isn't.
I'm gonna Google it right now. Let me see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you've got your computer.
I got
You
my
go for
computer
it.
up.
Yeah, I'm doing off my phone, so. Jennifer said, kids definitely shake up the organization.
They do. It's crazy.
Mary Jo said, what's a great way of stopping yourself from yelling when something upsets you? The easiest thing you can do, no matter what, is just to breathe. And I'm not talking like most people, first of all, let's talk about that. Breathing. Most people breathe wrong. Notice when you're breathing,
I do
when you're watching
that.
this video right now, pay attention to your breath. When you're breathing, are your shoulders going up? Or are you going,
I do
taking your
that.
breath?
I do.
Or are you taking the correct breathing, which is the belly breath, where you're like, see how my shoulders didn't move? That's the difference.
Yeah. I have to
But
consciously
most
work on that.
people are breathing from the shoulders up, like from the upper chest, and you're not properly expanding your lungs, so you're not actually getting a full breath.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. Make sure you're breathing correctly.
Yeah.
The
Get that
second step is,
oxygen. Get it
yeah, the second step would be, so if you're feeling, first of all, what would she say? What's a great way of stopping yourself from yelling when something really upsets you? Well, one, do the breathing. Take a deep belly breath
in. Just
in.
like,
Yeah, and hold it for 5 seconds,
yeah.
and then exhale to a count of 5, and then hold it for 5 seconds, and then inhale for a count of 5, hold it for 5 seconds, and just keep repeating that. The second thing I would say to do is check yourself. Why are you getting upset? What is triggering you in that moment? Because I think the thing that most people with the word triggering, they have this negative, remember we talked about words earlier, this negative connotation to the word triggering. And all triggering is a spotlight that there is for healing. There's nothing negative about it. It just shows you that you have some healing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably, if I was you, and this is what I do personally, if instead of yelling, because one, I don't yell, but if I got mad enough or upset enough that I wanted to, I would check in with myself like, why is it upsetting me so much? Where is this coming from? Because sometimes it has nothing to do with the person that you were about to direct it out towards. It could be from a past experience with somebody that you're holding on to, and that emotion, because our brain likes to link things together. It's like bringing up resources from a past event to this present thing. And it's like, oh yeah, remember last time you felt like this way? And it just makes it exacerbate how you feel, and then you just freak out on the wrong person.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help anybody, and then you feel bad after. So
Yes.
that's what I would say to do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I do, but
I would
what's your
say
take on it?
I do struggle with yelling sometimes, and that's just from programming that happened, not from childhood, but from kind of the struggle time in my marriage. And I talk a lot about that because I'm not embarrassed. Like we went through a rough time
Yeah.
and it sucked and whatever.
It's real.
It's better
It's raw.
now. And so there was a lot of just anger that has built up, and so there was programming happening. And what, and I'm not perfect at it, but what I'm finding now when I do
You're
feel
pretty good at it.
frustrated with my kids, because I do yell at my kids and I feel bad
Because
about
you're
that,
human.
I do apologize to them. But
That's huge.
when I use my words to describe my emotions, that
Mhm.
seems to help me, like saying, I'm feeling really angry right now that this is the 10th time you've asked me for this, and that
Yeah,
makes me angry, and I'm trying not to yell. So just
yeah.
voicing the inner thoughts that I'm trying to hold back on the yelling seems to help
Mhm.
me, because then
You don't blow up
I'm
then.
releasing some of that energy, and not bottling it up, but it's
Mhm.
also not yelling. So it's just like, I'm really angry because of this, or I'm feeling really sad because of this, or I'm feeling
Mhm.
angry and sad because of
Yeah.
this. Just describing what it is, just to get it out, because I'm the type of person, I have to get it out. It just needs to
Yep.
be, that energy needs to get out and away from me. Otherwise it's just bubbling and stewing
Yeah.
up, and then and my poor husband later on, he's like,
My
oh my
husband
God, what
uses
happened? Yeah.
he says the wrong thing and you're just like, blah. That's what we were
Ugh,
just talking
yeah,
about.
that I explode like an atom bomb. So just let it out, describe those feelings,
Yeah.
just like let it out. Yeah.
I
Because
think
it's
it's
okay to
also
have
important.
emotions and
Yes, we're
feelings.
humans. We're
Yeah.
supposed to have emotions. Good, bad, ugly, happy, sad,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You're supposed to experience all of it. What I was going to say is 9 times out of 10, anger is almost always the secondary emotion that you're actually feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean by that is somebody could say something and it could actually hurt your feelings. It could make you sad, and in retaliation, we
Mm-hmm.
lash out at that person
Mm-hmm.
because we're trying to protect ourselves, right? So then
Yep.
now it comes out as anger when really it was already hurt. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important too. If you're feeling something that's triggering you, um, like I said, ask the question, why is this triggering you? And then, like what
Mm-hmm.
Morgan just said, express that it's triggering you. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to use that word, just express, like, you said that and it's making me feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
And that has nothing to do with that person because how you receive it is based off your beliefs
Right.
and interpretation and all that. But it's okay to communicate that still out loud with the other person.
Mm-hmm.
You said this, it really hurt my feelings. Then they'll know that, okay, well, they'll clear it up with you. Well, that wasn't my intention, or maybe it was, or whatever. And that's the work there is to do there.
Yeah.
But
It opens
almost
up
always,
lines of
anger is the secondary
communication.
emotion.
Hopefully the other person won't be like, I don't care, you know.
Well, I think, and
And
that,
if
see,
they do,
look,
you're
that's
like, well, you're not the type of person I need in my life, so bye.
exactly. So this is why people should not be afraid to do these things and to speak the truth, because if you're not, what are you doing really with your life? Are
Yeah.
you constantly walking on eggshells to be around the people who are in your tribe or family or relationship even? Like,
Yeah.
the whole point of living is to speak your truth, to be your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, if you are that way and that doesn't match up with that person or they don't want to work on that with you, that should show you what their intentions are, what their motives are. And then you get to decide if you want to put up with that, if you want that person in your life or not. And I don't care if it's family or not. We've talked about that
Exactly.
before.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to cut anybody off that is not vibrationally aligned with you
Exactly.
and
So
that's
like
not serving you in your highest good. You
exactly.
don't have to stay in any toxic environment.
So like if you think of somebody, like anyone watching, think of someone you love right now, like that you totally vibe with,
Mm-hmm.
and if you knew that you upset them and they voiced that to you, like you had no idea that you triggered them, and you noticed them getting mad, you would appreciate that they would tell you the truth.
The
Because
honesty.
then you would be like, oh my God, I had no
I had
idea. I'm
no
so
idea.
sorry. How can I help? And
Yes.
and
Awareness is the first key, and some people
yeah,
aren't even aware that what they're doing or how they said something could be taken that way if that wasn't even their intention.
yeah.
So,
We're so used to bottling things up and being
yes.
afraid to maybe hurt people's feelings or start something, that we're just like,
But
I'll just keep
remember,
it to
guys,
myself, and that's
intentions are everything.
dangerous.
If you're communicating with the intent of just understanding, not to hurt that person's feeling, that's totally different than doing something and telling them that just to bitch at them or to lash out at them.
Hmm.
It's not the same. Your intention is everything and why you
Exactly.
do anything that you do.
And I find that asking questions is a good thing too. Even in any
Oh,
argument or
yeah.
misunderstanding, the
100%.
more that you ask questions, then the more you can even help that person try to figure that out. I do that a lot
Yeah.
with my husband, and he's doing that with me. It's like, okay, I see that you're mad.
Hmm.
What did I do something? Did I say something? And then it just opens up that communication to get them to think about it, to allow you to create that space for them to be vulnerable and open up and vent
That's where the
anything
magic
that's
happens.
there. Yes, and that's very healing, even though it can be a little uncomfortable, and
Of course.
sometimes you don't want to bring things up. You don't want to talk about it, but you have to because it's just
Or it'll
stewing
build
in
up.
there.
Yeah.
And so those are really good things. So always remember, just ask questions to help gain understanding, to create
Hmm.
that space for someone or even yourself. You know, why
Yeah.
am I feeling angry? Because you can ask questions to yourself all the
I do
time.
all the time.
And that'll help you get to the root of things, even though
You
sometimes
keep quick to that too.
your ego's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to, no, I don't want to. And you're like, no, but we need to. Or
Yeah.
did this embarrass you? And then you
Yeah.
have to kind of relive that embarrassing moment. And you're like, God, but yes,
100%.
but that's what it was. And then you
Yeah.
can work on that. So asking questions is huge for
I,
anybody.
I do that all the time, and I'm sure people that don't know me or see me or hear me or whatever maybe think I'm crazy, and I don't care because that's another thing. I don't care what people think. And that's not in an egotistical way. That's just my intention is I know I have the best intention for everything that I do.
Hmm.
So if someone takes that a different way, that's on them. That has nothing to do with me over here doing what I'm doing. Um, but yeah, I ask myself questions all the time. Like if I catch myself going to the default reaction, like based off of an old program,
Yeah.
one, I'm like, I'll acknowledge that. And I'm like, well, where
Yeah.
the hell is that coming from?
Yeah.
What is this really? What do I
Yeah.
really feel?
Yeah.
And then after I address that, then I'll go back and make sure that feeling is gone. Because if
Hmm.
it's not, I'll keep working through with my own tools, like on that specific event or whatever was
Yeah.
there for me, whatever needs healing. Because, like I said, that's a trigger that's just shining a spotlight on something that's maybe not fully healed. So
Hmm.
you should actually celebrate when you get triggered because it just shows you there's more room, like there's something else for you to work on, something else to heal, something else to improve, so that you can continuously evolve.
Yeah. But
And
we need people to tell us that. Like I know
yeah,
even like when I first met you, was it 2 years ago? Like you
yeah,
helped me think of things in a different way than I did before. And it's really changed me. And people need that from other people. Like we need to create this space. Again, that's why we do this
what we're doing
every
here, people.
Wednesday, to create this space
Yeah,
so that people have a place to feel vulnerable and to hear that, you know what, other people struggle, or here's what helped this person, or whatever it is. Like it's just
that's
creating
what a
that space for
community
people
is.
to be real and open and honest so that we can heal from all of this stuff that we've just stuffed down our entire lives, or that we've told just get
Yeah,
over it, it doesn't matter, like you're being a wimp, or that that's not how girls act, or that's
yeah.
not how boys act, or whatever it is. It's just ridiculous. We have to stop with all the stupid crap and just like be
Yeah.
real. Like let's just be real. It's okay to be real.
Mary just said I've got a lot of work to do.
We all
Mary,
do. We
just
all
let you
do.
know, the
We
work
all
never
do.
stops. We're
Yeah.
always working.
It's
And I
ongoing
think that's a stigma
forever.
too, right?
Yeah.
That people think there's this thing that you reach, this place that
Hmm.
everything's gonna be great and I don't want to work on this. Like, that's not true. To live a conscious life, when we were talking
Hmm.
about awaken, the vlogcast, being awake, what we're talking about is being intentional. Like literally being intentional with everything that we do and everything that we think, everything.
Hmm.
And so it's just a constant muscle that you're working out. It doesn't stop.
Hmm.
But it becomes a thing that you look forward to doing, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Oh,
Because like I
definitely.
said, it just shows you, oh, I'm improving, or you start catching things faster and you get through them faster and faster and faster. So it can feel uncomfortable, like Morgan said at first, doing those things, but eventually you get so good at it, like it's just second nature. You can correct it in like seconds.
Hmm.
So it doesn't even feel like you're working your whole life on it anymore. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. And it's really cool when you get to that point where you can look back in time
And like I'm a different person.
and be like, well, like, because you've always been you, but you're able to look
Yeah.
back and be like, whoa, like, I've really come a long way. And,
Evolved,
but it's
different
interesting.
season.
It's a very internal journey. So as you're going
Mhm.
through things, it's hard to describe to people that don't want to do work on themselves or that don't want to
Yeah.
change, especially if you're in relationships with people or family, like then they'll kind of be like, why are you being so weird? And you're like, I'm doing a lot of internal work and it's a struggle sometimes and it's really
Mhm.
stressful. And, there are times where people are like, you're like being great. Like, what kind of question is that? Like, who talks like that? And you're like, that's just like what I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
And again, it's important to find people that understand. Because I, like, Ashton's one of those people I feel like I could tell anything to, even like the craziest shit you could ever think of. And she'd have like,
That's almost,
a perfect thought for it. She wouldn't think I was nuts. She would understand like, okay, she's going through some internal work and I'm just here to be a friend and,
just support, sounding
yeah,
board, whatever it is you need in that moment. Yeah.
yeah. So that's so important.
And that's important. I mean, for me, right? You telling me what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Or anybody. Like I just need you to listen. I need you to listen to hear me, not to respond. Right? We've talked about that on here before. I just need you to be a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, somebody to make me laugh, like somebody just to talk and tell this to. Like I'm that space for a lot of people. A lot of my clients that come in, right, tell me things that not another living soul knows. They've only told me.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome that I get to hold that space for people because of all the work that I've done on myself. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to hold that space for them. Because I would get triggered
Exactly.
by all the stuff. Because I've heard a lot of stuff. So.
But you've been through your own growth stuff, and like and you're continually growing and always having work to do, and it's this cool ripple effect that happens.
Oh
and
yeah.
we're seeing it a lot with all kinds of things. I mean, and I do a lot on I don't get it out in person a lot, but I can just tell there's like a shift happening kind of globally, and it's really cool to feel into that. Because I don't know, it's hard to describe, but you get it. And anyone watching, you probably get where you can just feel the energy of the planet almost, where the conscious collective or collective consciousness or whatever you want to call it, you just feel people healing a lot of things that are generational or even personal. Maybe it's not generational. They're just healing stuff to stop the cycles of abuse or sadness or whatever it is, because we're changing, we're choosing, we're saying no, this stops with me. I'm going to do the work. It sucks right now. I don't really want to do that today, but I'm going to, because I don't want to live like this forever. I don't want to pass this on to my kids. I don't want to put that energy out into the world when the world's already has all kinds of heavy energy. I want to be I want to be the light. I want to lift others up because I've been down in the dumps and I don't want other people to feel like that. It's all about lifting each other up, lifting the energy of the planet, and then feeling into that when it happens. It's very powerful.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, the ripple effect, the more, even the family that you said that maybe, or friends, I don't remember which one you said, if they start saying weird things or why are you acting that way or whatever, at the same time, when you're being yourself and being that way around them, like they do kind of start to shift, whether they realize it or not. And you just got to pay attention. And sometimes it's like baby steps, but just you being you helps them shift too sometimes. I've seen that in my own life.
That.
So
like
a little
awesome. Bit. You're like, okay.
Like I see you. I see you doing your work.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's good. Good job.
Yeah. What did Mary say? I struggle with being physically tired and not being able to think mentally. Does that make sense? Okay. Physically tired all the time when you come home from work. Like, can you give us a little bit more insight on that? Like, what is that for you?
Like a constant?
Yeah, like, is it all the time? Is it when things are kind of more stressful?
Is it around
like
certain people, maybe?
Yeah, those are all good questions. So any of those questions that you can answer would be very helpful, and we'll address it when you answer.
Yeah.
But just to go with all of this, because we're covering self-care, speaking your truth, communicating with others, your intent, or when something upsets you or makes you sad or whatever, all of that is a form of self-care. Because you owe it to yourself to live a life that is full of love and light and fulfilled.
Your life. It's your life.
Yeah, it's your, like, you get to choose. You are the creator of your life. Nothing is permanent, people. Like, literally, you can change every part of your life if you wanted to. Does require some
make
work.
a choice.
Yes. So she said work. So, do you enjoy going to your work? Are you around certain people at your work that you start feeling drained about? Like Morgan said, maybe your boss or certain coworkers. Give a little bit more info on that. How long have you been at this job? Is it really what you want to be doing?
Yeah. Does it make you happy? The work that you're doing, does it fulfill you? Is it, part of your purpose to create the life you want or whatever your purpose is?
Let's see. Jennifer said, shifting is freaking exhausting. Yes, but that's because one, you're purging a lot, a hell of a lot. And two, you're healing a lot. So it's going to take more energy to heal, but
That's
as
a
you all
lot of
know,
energy.
it's worth it in the end.
Oh yeah, but like you, I'm glad you said that because it can take a lot of energy. It can look like you're not doing a lot. You could just be sitting down reading a book, but you're doing like so much growth on the inside that it's just like sucking every ounce of
Because,
energy that you have.
because mentally, when you're in your head a lot, that's exhausting too.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, like, I'm one of those people. Sometimes I have to purposely shut this off for a little bit.
Yep.
So there's
Me too.
times when I'm driving, the other thing that I do, I just turn the music off completely and I just go with the road sounds. And that's meditative for me. And that helps me quiet my mind to get in that space.
Yeah.
She said, but I live in California, so I don't know if we missed a comment or
Let's see. Because she
I
said
didn't see
she
anything.
struggles with physically being tired. Let's see, it makes sense. Work. But I live in California. Is that like, let's see, I'm going to say a little bit of everything of what you mentioned. Okay, so maybe people you work with, your work, is it maybe like your sole purpose? Maybe it's just kind of, is it to pay the bills? A lot of people, I think, get stuck in jobs because of money. There's bills to pay, and like if you leave your job, you can't pay the bills, and then you lose your house or apartment or your car, and so there's that whole train of thought that happens when you think about this. But I think so many people are in that situation. They're just at a job to survive because you got to pay bills and you got to eat and all that stuff. So is that maybe the gist of it? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of along the lines of what Lucky said too. Maybe if you're not fulfilling your soul work, your job is sucking your energy, which is 100%.
Yeah.
If you're not speaking your truth, if you're letting people walk on you at work because you think you have to, because they're your boss or whatever, like, I don't care who they are. If they're walking all over you, stand up for yourself. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I'm just putting it out there if somebody's in that situation, like, speak your truth.
Yeah.
You don't have to let anybody talk down to you. They're not above you. Like, they're not allowed to treat you like crap. I don't care how above you they are in the pole position of jobs or whatever, the tiers. You owe it to yourself of your self-care because you teach people how to treat you, and you have to put your boundaries out there that you won't let anyone treat you like crap. You have to have, which that comes with self-worth, self-respect, self-love for yourself before you can even have those boundaries to know, like, oh, I totally deserve way better than that, and I don't deserve to have somebody talk to me or treat me that way.
Yeah.
The other thing could be the sole purpose, speaking your truth, energetically. Like, are you filling what we talked at the very beginning? What are you doing to fill your cup up when you're at home?
Yeah.
Are you taking time for yourself, or is it as soon as you get home, you're going right back to doing whatever it is you do? If it's laundry or cooking or cleaning or raising kids, like, what is it you do? Are you purposely taking time for yourself, for your self-care when you do go home? Do you do anything for that, Mary Jo?
Are you taking work home? Like the energy of the day? Are you taking that home into your space? I know my husband a lot. He'll come home and I think he'll take some time in the garage to kind of transition from, okay, I've been at work, I'm now at home.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to bring work through my doorway because I need to keep that separate. I don't want that here. So let's see.
You said bed, so I guess that means you go straight home, go straight to bed.
Straight to bed. Okay. So there's.
I think it would be good for you maybe to try maybe meditating before bed or journaling right before bed to kind of get all of the day off of you. Like, because here's what happens. If you're not addressing whatever we went through that day and then you're going straight to bed, that's still all in your subconscious mind. And when we go to sleep, our subconscious mind is super active. We go in the dream state and all those things. So you probably have noticed if you go to bed that way, you're not getting actually a restful night's sleep. Yeah. You might toss and turn, wake up a lot, or maybe have bad dreams. That has to do with that because our subconscious mind using our dream state to communicate with us a lot of times too. Mm-hmm. So I would say try meditating before bed, maybe like an Epsom salt bath before bed, journaling before bed, just like what happened that day to get it out, like any of those things, and see if that helps you as far as like energetically, if that helps give you any more energy.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for her as far as that goes?
I'd
Or things
ask,
to do?
what do you like to do? Is,
What makes you
what
feel
do you
good?
enjoy? And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's, I don't know,
The
it could
most
be,
random
could be
thing.
painting your own fingernails or like
I'm terrible at that.
paper mache crafts. I don't know, like, but what do you enjoy doing
Yeah.
that makes you feel fulfilled, that you can just kind of go into that meditative state and just do that thing?
Yeah.
Maybe try to prioritize that somehow. And I know a lot of people that say, I don't have time. That's a huge phrase. Like, I don't have time for that. Well,
If you're saying you don't have time,
right,
that's the exact thing you need to do then.
exactly. Because that really means I'm not prioritizing it.
Especially
And
myself.
because we all have 24 hours in a day, we all have time. Time abundant.
Yep.
Time is just here. Like, we're living in time
Yeah.
because we're stuck in the three dimension. There's just time everywhere. So it's about prioritizing. And when you rephrase that in your mind, I don't have time to, I'm not prioritizing it, it kind of,
It changes
it
things.
triggers something, and you're like, oh shit, like, I'm really not prioritizing that. I'll do that sometimes with my kids. If I work at home and we homeschool, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to, I just didn't have time
Yeah.
to build Legos with you. But then when I rephrase, I'm like, I just didn't make it a priority. I'm like, oh God,
Yes.
that hurts a little more because it's
Got me a
true.
little bit.
It's the
Yeah.
truth. But then facing the truth helps me realize, okay, that's what I need to change, because this is something I want to prioritize because of this, this, and this. So
Yeah.
because it hurts that I didn't prioritize it, I'm more likely to prioritize it in the future because I don't like feeling
Feeling that way.
that pain.
Yeah.
So,
I think there's something else is just keeping track of your yeses and nos, right? What are you saying yes to throughout the day that you don't actually want to do? Maybe because you have to do it, or you feel like you have to do it, or obligated to do it, or whatever. What are you saying yes to that you don't want to? Because when you're saying yes to something you don't want to do, you're saying no to something that you do want to do. Does that make sense?
that's a good perspective. I've heard, like, you don't have to be a yes man. You don't have to please
There's like an
everybody.
article.
You don't have to go
Yes.
out to drinks with people if you don't
Yeah.
want to, or you don't have to go do that thing. You can
Yeah.
say
I
no.
don't do that stuff.
Yeah, you can say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also an article. I'll see if I can find it and link it back in here. So there's two things. Earlier we were talking about the job. There's a video I want to share in the links in here. So I'll go back after this is over and share it in the links so people can watch. Also, if you join the AWAKEN Vlogcast community, I can share them in there in our group. So there's the job video, but there's also this article, and I believe the woman was dealing with chronic health. It was really good, and it's talking about spoons. So she's talking about spoons, and she's saying that because she's chronically ill, she only has so many spoons to give throughout the day, because to her, she might not be able to do what normal people who are healthy do, right? So every time she says yes to something, she's giving away a spoon, or however many spoons that thing takes, right? Because some things take more than one spoon. So what I'm saying is, if you can visualize your yeses as tangible things, spoons, and give yourself so many spoons a day that you're giving away, see how that changes things for you. Like, what are you saying yes to that you don't want to do? And also, I think if you set a limit on how many spoons you are, just like as an experiment, you can change the amount like over a week or whatever. But see how many things you're saying yes to. You're saying like what Morgan said, you're like saying yes to so many things, you're like exhausting and depleting yourself. Because there's a happy medium to find, right? That's that pendulum we talked about. It's not one way or the other. It's finding balance between the two. It's not saying no to everything. It's not saying yes to everything. It's finding that happy balance in the middle.
To the things you actually want to do.
Because it's your life. You literally, I just want to say this because I know people are going to be like, whatever. You literally don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. You can change it at any point. And I don't care if it's a job, a relationship, anything. You can change at any point if you really want to. And I know it can be scary and all these things and work, but just know you're never stuck. Change is the only constant. It might change how you're functioning, but you're never stuck. You can always change it.
Exactly. And it's good. Like, focus on what you want.
Yes.
Because that gets back to the law of attraction. A lot of our
Yep.
lives, like, they
We need to
coincide with
do the
each
next
other.
one we do. We should do law of attraction for those people who don't know that. I think that'd be
Yes.
cool.
Didn't we do that? Or no, we did thoughts become
You know?
things,
Yeah, we did thoughts
which
become
is
things.
similar. Yeah.
Similar, but
Um,
not exactly the same.
exactly. So when you focus on what you want, doesn't mean you're going to get it instantly. But like, let's say
Yeah.
you're unhappy with your job for whatever reason, whether it's the people or whatever. Focus on what you want out of your job.
Mhm.
I want to feel happy, or I want to get
Feel
along with all my
appreciated.
coworkers, feel
Yeah.
appreciated. I want to focus on how you want to feel instead of things like I want to make more money, or I want this person to get fired. Focus on how you want to feel about your job, and then
The
it's
outcome you want.
crazy it's crazy the way the universe will work to bring that to you. We've experienced that multiple times with
Hmm.
different things, and it's things will manifest. It takes time, but it manifests perfectly, and you're like, oh my god, like that was a little bit scary. That's exactly what I wanted, but I
Yeah.
focused on how I wanted to feel, and the universe was like, here you go. Because when you're
Because
focusing on the lack or what you don't want, you're just getting more of that. The universe
yes,
is
it's
like,
just about
okay, well, here you go. I don't know why, but here you go. So focus on what you want and how you want to feel.
yeah, because whatever you're looking for, you're going to find.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
our brain. We've talked about
Yeah.
that before.
Yeah.
So we have all these resources in our brain based off the programs and stuff like that that we have. So if you're looking for negative things, guess what? You're gonna find negative things.
Yep. Right
But
there
same
on
goes
the
if you're
platter,
looking.
like, here you go. Here's your negative
Yeah, it's like,
things.
oh, and then it's gonna be like, oh, also, remember what happened in second grade that made you feel shitty? Oh, here you go. Oh, remember what happened in college that made you feel crappy and you're really embarrassed? Here
Oh
you go.
God,
Like it'll
those are
just
the
keep adding.
worst. It's
But
just
that's what our
like
brain does.
everything. Yeah. Like, thanks,
But
brain.
it thinks it's because it's
Yeah.
protecting it. It doesn't want us to go through that again. But really, sometimes it can hinder us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we rewire the brain and do all those things that I do.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but also the same other side of that is if you focus on the good things, you look for the good things, you'll always find them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it can be the littlest thing. You can be having the shittiest day
Yeah.
and you decide you want to change your focus, right? And
Mm-hmm.
perspective. Instead of saying this is a shitty day, like, I'm breathing on my own today. This is
Yep.
great. I'm walking right now. And it just starts with little baby things like that. And that shift, like, gratitude is the greatest, fastest shifting thing of anything.
I
That's
agree.
what I believe. I mean, take it
It's
for what you will.
funny you say that because that makes me
Is it?
think of a, well, I guess it's not. But today, well, okay, Daniel Tiger, Mr. Rogers had Daniel Tiger. There's a new cartoon Daniel Tiger show.
Oh, that's where it
And they
came
do,
from. Okay. My
and they
niece
do the
watches that, but I
little,
didn't know the connection. That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah, Mr. Rogers. It's a
I
good
love Mr.
show
Rogers.
even for adults, but they do little songs in every episode. And this one is like when something seems bad, turn it around and find something good. And today my oldest son, he's been sneaking things like the Nintendo Switch when he's supposed to be sleeping at nighttime,
No.
and granola bars in his bed when we've already said no. So he's going through
Rebel.
this sneaky phase, and like it's happening. Like we've given consequences, like losing screen time, losing the Switch, and losing your favorite book, and he just keeps doing it. So we're like, okay, how do we work through this? And so I had him clean the grout on the tile with a
I've done that.
toothbrush
That's the
today.
worst. That's the
It is
worst.
so worse, but I'm like, I don't know. Like this sucks. You need to remember
Yeah.
it sucks. Like you get sucky consequences when you do things you're not supposed to. But anyways, we had a talk, and because I was angry and he was sad, and there were things, and we sat down and we talked about it, and he, even without prompting, and he's saying that song from Daniel Tiger, and he's like, well, um, at least when I'm doing this, like my brothers aren't hitting me with the swords or something. And so he was
There you go.
taking something negative and at least finding some positive in it. And so that made me feel like winning at parenting. I'm like, okay, yes, I'm not like screwing at my kids. That I was also really proud of him. I was like, you took that thought, you're already learning this, and you're taking something that I know you hate doing, but you're you're finding some positive with it, even if it is, my brothers aren't hitting me with swords. You know,
Yeah.
for him, when brothers
That's a
fight and
win.
stuff, that's a win for him. So he's like, he's getting some peace and quiet time in a way. So
Yeah.
I thought that was,
Did you
he's 8, by the way, and that he's making that connection. So
did
it
you
was
voice
good.
that to him?
I
Just
did.
curious.
I did.
That's awesome.
I did,
So
'cause
that
I was
reinforced like
like,
you noticed what he was doing.
I was like,
Because
it
that's
is
the
good
thing.
to find there's always a positive in any negative. I was like, there's always something positive. And so it's good that you can find that, even though
Yeah.
you need to stop sneaking things. For the
It
love of
solidifies
God.
it what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
As far as him sneaking things, I'm just curious. Like, have you asked him why he's doing it?
He
You ever?
said, he says, I don't know. And we are trying to like work through that. And I think he's just embarrassed about it. Like
Mhm.
he,
Because he got caught.
and I think there's kind of a
Yeah.
thrill to it too, a little
Like,
bit.
oh, I'm being sneaky.
Right, because I'll talk to Jeremy and I'm like,
Adventures.
"Did you do this?" Because I don't remember being sneaky as a kid. He's like, "Oh yeah." He's
I
like,
was
"You got kind of
sneaky.
like
I was
a thrill
sneaky.
from it," and so
Yeah.
I think it's just a mixture of different things, and it's just probably trying to push some boundaries, try to see,
Yeah. So you see
with
what he's
parents,
trying to see what he
yeah,
can do.
like can I push this line back? I'm like, no, here's the line. Like, it's not okay to sneak things, and we're always like, talk to us, just
Yeah.
communicate. We've changed our mind with certain things when he made a compelling argument, and
Nice.
yeah, but I'm like, we cannot continually do this. There have to be consequences, and it's going to be scrubbing the grout on the tile, and it's disgusting because we have 3 boys and 3 dogs. So yeah, but he found the
So
positive, so it's all good.
that's awesome. So
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know if you already tried this or not, but when he answers, so I don't know is always a default, our subconscious default, right? Like,
hmm
so
But
we
if
don't even
you
really think
did
about
know, what
it.
would it be?
Yeah.
I
They'll
remember you
always saying
teaching me
that
that.
after, like, but if you
Yeah.
did know, what would it be?
Yeah, I
And
haven't
then
done that
wait.
in this situation though. So I've done that in other ones, but yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, see, like if something comes up, so that he really has to stop, because here's what happens when you ask somebody that question, they actually have to stop,
Yeah,
take in what you said, really think about it, and then answer you.
yeah.
And you
I've been.
just keep asking,
Yeah,
because, and that's one of the things we've learned in NLP too, is
yeah,
like sometimes by default we'll say, I don't know. It's like, what do you want to eat? I don't know. And then you start naming places like, no, I don't want that. So they do know. They just
yeah,
didn't want to take the time to process what you said to give you
yeah.
an answer.
I
So
do.
you just ask more questions like, well, if you did know, what would it be? And if they're
Yeah,
like, I don't know, keep going until they
yeah,
get fed up because they're going to get frustrated and they'll end up telling you
yeah.
exactly what you wanted.
I've
So
done that with Jeremy before. And it's really funny. He's like, I don't know. And I kept going. And I got an answer, but he was getting flustered. And I laughed to myself. He's like, why are you laughing at me? I'm like, just doing a little trick here to get the answer.
did it work?
It did work, yeah.
There you go.
It's funny because he was mad.
But that's the thing. When
Yeah,
somebody gets frustrated, then it's
yeah,
making them recognize this. They have to say what they want because
yeah, yeah.
I've had that conversation with a couple people lately. People will get frustrated if certain things weren't happening. And my first question is, are you voicing what you want to happen? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, then how is the other person going to know? Again, that's where speaking our truth is so important. That's self-care. If you want something, ask for it because we
hmm
can't expect the other person or people or whoever to know what we want. I know there's some psychics out there, but most people are not mind readers. So it's
That's
always
true.
about communicating what it is you want or what it is you don't want.
hmm
And what I mean by that, I don't just say negative things like, I don't want this, I don't want this. I'm saying, like, I don't like this, but this is what I want.
hmm
So I'm not saying just go out and like, well, I don't want this, and then you not tell them what you want because that's still not getting you anywhere. So
Exactly. And that's good for self-care too. Like voice, what do you
mhm.
want? What do you want? What do you not want?
Ask yourself what
Yeah,
you want.
yeah.
Because if you can't answer that question, you're not going to be able to answer that question for
Right.
somebody
No
else.
one
If you
can
can't
answer it
answer that
for
for
you.
yourself.
You could
Yeah.
offer suggestions and maybe help kind of guide you through it, but you need to ask,
You need
like,
to know for
what
yourself.
makes me happy? What makes me feel rested and charged? What's something I loved to used to do? What's something I used to do in the past that I don't do anymore that I wish I
hmm
could do today? Like
And there's
just
also so many things like when you were talking about doing things that make you feel good, sometimes there's things that you haven't even tried yet. So just trying a bunch of different things till you find the thing that you just really like.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be something out there that you haven't even tried yet that you would be a freaking expert at, like a natural, like it would just come so naturally to you and you don't even know because you haven't tried it yet because you're in the comfort zone and the fear of trying new things and I only
Yep.
want to do the same thing over and over.
Yep. And then you're like,
Get
oh.
out there, people.
Or like
Get
you
me out the
try
nest.
you try something once and you're like, oh, that didn't work. Like, this is stupid. It's like Ashton said, keep trying. Like, don't
Yeah.
don't stop with just one thing. Like, oh, I thought I'd like to get a massage, but I didn't like it that much. So
Yeah. So
I
move
should
on to
like
the next.
massages, and like that's stupid. It's just like
Yeah.
try something else. Try painting or riding a bike or
There are
rollerblading
literally
or
infinite
swimming.
possibilities
Yeah,
like this.
yeah, or jumping on a trampoline, or
Yeah.
I don't know, baking cookies. Maybe you like to bake. I hate cooking. That would not be for me. But yeah, just keep trying until you find something that really makes you just feel happy. Because it's okay for you to feel happy. You don't have to just go through life just settling.
It's your birthright to be happy, just
Yeah,
so you know.
be happy, no
Anybody
matter
would
how
think.
weird it is. It doesn't
It doesn't
matter.
matter. Because what is
Yeah,
weird, right? Weird is whatever it is to somebody else. Because their
yeah,
programs, perspectives, or whatever
yeah,
is different than yours. So,
yeah. Weird is like wanting
lots
to
of their
like
life.
build up a school bus and like go drive around the country. Like just do
I think
that
it's
shit,
awesome.
man. Just do it. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So those are different things you can do as far as like self-care. Just all the
Mhm.
things we've covered on here so far. Do you want to cover Darcy's comments?
Yeah. So we'll go back here.
Yeah, I just saw them scroll or pop up.
Let's see. Yeah, Darcy says, yes, good point. You don't have to do things you don't want to throughout the day. Um, Interesting. Total your spoons. Yeah, the spoon thing, that was
Yeah.
interesting.
I'll share those links in after this video is over.
Yeah, please do. That'd be good for people. Yes, focus on what you want to feel. She says, you're a great mother, Morgan. Thank you. I
Yeah, you are.
try.
You're rock
That's a
star.
child's job to push the envelope. That's the damn truth. Your job is to confirm where the boundaries are. That's proof you love them. They look for structure even though they push. Yes.
Here's the thing with that
Yeah.
though. So even a way to view that, like a child pushing the boundaries or pushing the envelope is I think what she said, is just a child exploring to learn. And that's what you need to get back to doing as an adult, right?
Yes.
So yes, there comes a time for that in childhood, like don't
Yeah.
go play in the street, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as far as being an adult, there comes a thing with you need to push the envelope. You need to see what you like, what you don't like, try new things.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that part.
No, no, that's good because that's true. We get too grown up sometimes.
We
And
get
life
too
should be fun.
cookie cutter
We
sometimes
do get too
to
cookie
blend
cutter.
in and to fit in because
Yeah.
everybody just wants to fit in when really the
Yeah.
beauty is in being different. And
Yeah.
by being different and embracing our differences together, we can actually fit in with all the other people who are embracing that. Like it's not either or.
Exactly.
It's pretty interesting.
Like we can accept each other even though we're different, but still be the same because we're
Exactly.
accepting of each other's quirky
Yeah.
differences. And that's beautiful. That's a beautiful
Yes,
thing.
I
Um,
agree.
yeah, you want to voice what you want. And Darcy says, I enjoy these lives so much. It's like a girls' night out, even though we're in. That's true. It is. This is my girls' night out. And then she says, yes, so true, Ashton.
Yeah. And that's why we do this because we realize that there are people out there who are going to watch this, who get on these lives and interact, or maybe go watch the replays that don't have that space, that community, that tribe, that safe place to talk about these things. And that's why it's such a big deal that we are doing this because then you guys can, one, interact with each other, interact with us, and know that you are not alone in any of this. That's the whole point of all of this.
Yeah. Because it's
And
no
then
fun
we
to
have
feel
also,
alone.
yeah, and that's why we also, was it last week we created the group?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
last
Last
week.
week. Yeah.
So last week when we created the Awaken Vlogcast community, that's actually a group you can go join. We can put the link in here too.
I'll do that real quick.
The whole purpose of that is to keep the conversation going even between every week. So you're not waiting just on Wednesday just to talk to everybody. You can actually
Yeah.
continue this conversation. Like
Yeah.
maybe you're having a struggle one day and you don't want to wait till next Wednesday to tell us about it. Like that's why we're here. We're creating that space to let you know you're not alone. So if you're having a hard day, the whole point, we want you to post it in the group so that you can get that support you need, maybe feedback that you need, maybe what is it you said earlier? A different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody might share something with you that might help you or help you view it differently or help you get through it. You know, that's the whole point of all of this. So
Let's see. I'm putting that link to the group in the comments real quick in case anyone wants to join.
That's true. I keep forgetting your laptop, so that's like that quick. So thank you.
Thank you.
So mysterious. Just snap my fingers and it's here. Magic's gone. No more Mr. Wizard behind the curtain.
Oh man, I wish I was a wizard.
You are a wizard.
I know, but like an actual like magic wizard. There's some magic tricks. I'm convinced there are some actual wizards out there. Like I'm convinced that there's actual magic happening.
Okay, hold on. What's your definition of a wizard though? Like, what is it to be a wizard? I'm curious because
like
this is why I'm saying
Harry Potter, witches and wizards, Harry Potter, like a wand and like poof, your glasses are fixed, or poof, your hair's immediately pink, or you can turn someone into a frog, or I don't know. Harry Potter. It's like Harry Potter is magic.
Well, the reason I said you already are a wizard is because we are master manifestors, right?
That's true, yeah.
Living in this 3D reality, we literally manifest stuff all the time. Like you were doing with your bus and all those things, like we talked about on here. Something that was in your mind that was just a thought one day. You look around you and see how many things you've actually brought into your reality or created into your reality. You're a wizard.
Yeah, that's true.
And a master manifester.
That's an interesting perspective. Yeah, because everything we have we've created it and
into our reality.
And and now is the only thing that exists. So even though back then we made choices that led us to where we are now, it was now back then. So really it is only now. So if you're only looking at the now portion, it really is an instant manifestation, even though it's not.
Yes.
It's weird.
And I just want to say that also goes for all the negative things in your life. If you look around and there's a lot of negative, you've also manifested that. It's probably something you don't want to hear, but that's also the truth, and that's what we're here to spread the truth.
Yeah.
So if you see something in your life you don't like, the good news is you can change it, which is what we talked about earlier.
That's true. So talking about negative things, so when we were younger, we got into a lot of credit card debt, and that sucked, but we've paid off our first credit card and we're working on our second and last credit card. And that's good. That was something negative that it's a little bit painful right now because you're like, I'd rather spend my money on this, but we're putting this extra money towards the money we spent in the past that we didn't have. But we've decided we're doing this because going forward, we don't want to have credit card debt. Like, we don't want that. So in order to have that in the now, we have to make the choices so that in the future now, we are credit card free. So that's...
And here's the other thing with that. How are you going to feel when that's paid off?
Oh my God, amazing. Like, so free.
Can you already feel it now?
Yeah, I feel it. I'm like, I feel it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so there's something, so even though, see, that's a perfect example. What Maureen just said is that this negative thing, right, the air quotes, because there's no such thing as negative or not. There's just things. This negative thing that Morgan's talking about actually is going to end up being this great thing, right? Because she's taking her power back from it. So it's so interesting to think about life that way. If we've all been through something that most people consider negative, like I have stories that I could share, and most people are like, oh my God, that's horrible. I'm like, no, this is a great thing actually, because it helps us realize what we do want sometimes. It gives us contrast to the things we don't want so that we can figure out what we do want. It does help us, if we go through something negative, to gain our power back, right? That we talked about, taking power back from whatever this thing that was holding over our head. So for Morgan, talking about credit card debt, right? She's like, oh, it sucked, like whatever. And then now she's like, yeah, I already paid off one. I'm almost done on the other, and I already feel great about it. And I'm not even done yet. So, so she's feeling it now, but I can guarantee you when that's paid off, this feeling she has about it, already feeling good, it's going to be amplified even stronger.
Oh my gosh, so much. I'm like, I can't wait for that day. And it's going to happen because we're making it happen, because we're choosing to. We're choosing to, make different choices. Because if you want to make any changes, you have to make different choices. You have to decide. You can't do the same thing and expect to win the lottery and then your life's going to change. Like, it doesn't work like that. I mean, I'm sure for like the few people that win the lottery, they have more money, but it doesn't mean the problems are fixed. You just
do you know
you have more problems because you have more money.
That, and do you know how quickly sometimes the people that there's shows out there, just watching people that
Yeah,
win the
there.
lottery money, how quickly they blow through it or get into more extreme debt
I
because they
know,
just
it's so
blew through
sad.
it.
It's
So
sad.
money is great and it can help be a vehicle for different things, but money is not the end all be all of all
Yeah,
things.
yeah. You have to
You can have all the
make
money in the world and be the
changes.
loneliest person
Yeah,
and unloved. You could be
yeah.
the poorest person in the world and express the most gratitude and love ever.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
all about perspectives.
yep. And the choices that you decide to make.
Yep.
Just whether it's mental choices to like, I'm going to enjoy doing the dishes today because I'm going to learn about
Mhm.
something while I'm doing the dishes. Or, it could be physical, like, I'm going to do some push-ups today and that's going to make my body feel better. Like physical,
You're gonna be one
mental,
step closer to the body you want.
spiritual, you're going to make different choices that lead to different things. And it's hard, but you know what? It's not all supposed to be easy.
Yeah. And that's living a life with intent, doing it on purpose, what you want to do, creating the life that you want, not living by default.
Hmm.
And there's something about that too, like when you were talking about thought, every decision we have is just a stepping stone, right, towards the next stepping stone. So it feels like a baby step. And we're like, oh, well, we're here. How are we going to get there? The point is, you're already one step closer to that
Hmm.
thing that you're trying to attain, to
Just follow the
create,
path.
whatever.
Just
Just
one
keep
step
taking
at a
baby steps.
time. Yeah.
People get so overwhelmed looking at their one step where they're at and looking at the end goal and like, oh my God, that's so far. It's like, no, put your head down, just take the next step.
Hmm.
Know what you want, feel what you want, take the next step.
Yeah. Yeah. The bus is a great example of that. I've never done that before.
But you're
And
figuring
people
it
are
out,
like,
aren't you?
well, have you thought about this? I'm like, I haven't thought about that yet. Or have you thought about it? Well, not yet. I will get there when it comes time for that. We will address that and figure it out. But right now, I got to pull the siding off and like put more insulation in. That's where we're at. So that's what I'm working on. I'm not worried about all the super tiny details of everything because if I start focusing on that, I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot.
You get
And then I'm like,
overwhelmed.
calm down. One step at a time. You got this. It's fine.
Yeah.
I see
That's
that.
why I'm
I
a
see
list
the
maker.
end, and I see where I am now, and I know I'll get to the end, and it's fine. Yeah.
I make lists. If I start feeling like overwhelmed with things or have like a really big list in my head of things to do, I'll just start writing them down on an actual list so that I can tick them off as I do them
Hmm.
and focus on one thing at a time. Because sometimes, and I will tell you this as an entrepreneur, business owner, whatever you want to call it, if you look at things as a business owner, right, as the whole picture,
Hmm.
sometimes it's so overwhelming you just won't even do it. You'll just be frozen with fear. And
They're
so
like,
it's something
nope.
about
Let's
chunking
close
it
that
down.
book.
Yeah, like, never mind.
Yeah.
But there's something about chunking it down and doing one thing at a time that changes everything. And then there's something with that too, the momentum, right, that you gain. So once you get one thing off your list, you're like, oh, that feels good. And then you want to keep going because that feels good to you to like check something off your list. At
Yeah.
least
It
that's for
does.
me.
Yeah. It's very satisfying. You're like, oh, I did it. Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's important. You got to celebrate the little things because the little things are what actually matter. The
Yeah.
little things are usually, an accumulation of little things that lead to bigger things and then bigger things. And you have to
And
start with
that's
the little
also
things.
why it's important for the self-care and grounding yourself and doing all those
Yep.
things to fill yourself up first because then you're not so depleted that you don't feel as if you can do these other things to get
Yep.
to it.
Because you are the vessel in this life that takes you to wherever you want to be. So you have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself and
Who are you helping?
you're gone, then you're gone. There's nothing. Then
Yeah.
you are here in this body, so take care of this body and
Yes.
your mind.
And self-care, there's lots of things. So we've talked about physical things to do, just meditating, stuff like that. What else did you say earlier? Massage. I mean, there's a ton of
Oh,
things that can be
massage, art, I mean,
exercising,
pedicures, manicures. I know people like that. Getting your
mindset is
hair
what we talked
done.
about.
Go
Speaking your
maybe
truth.
maybe shop. Maybe you want a new shirt. Maybe you need
Yeah.
new running shoes because you like to run. Like, go get the new running shoes.
There's one that I didn't talk about earlier that's the biggest one, I believe,
Hmm.
besides the thought process, the mindset we already talked about. The biggest thing as far as self-care that you can do for yourself is conscious eating.
Oh,
what you're putting into your body. I didn't
that's
mention it earlier. I
right.
mean, and I know
That's
you're that way
really
too,
hard.
but
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's,
because that
yeah.
affects everything. That's
Yep.
literally the fuel that you're putting into your body.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're eating a lot of processed foods or something with lots of chemicals and stuff like that, that's the fuel you're giving your body. So if you're feeling like crap, I would ask you to take a look at what you're eating.
Yeah. And
Because are you eating things that don't ever expire?
yeah,
That's probably not good for you.
that's true. Now this is a tricky slope because, I'll admit I like a treat every now and then.
Oh, I do too. I'm
I
not
like
saying
sugar.
all the
It's
time.
so people are like,
There's
well,
moderation.
my self-care, maybe I like to do this. But there's when it comes to your diet, which is literally building your body, that is your body's
Mhm.
fuel, you do need to be conscientious of that because eating too much processed food will destroy your body and it can affect your mental health too.
Yep, because
And
your gut
that's
is really your first brain.
exactly.
So,
So we're not saying like don't enjoy a donut every now like go
yeah,
enjoy a
that's.
donut every now and then.
I
Or you know
literally
what?
bought a piece of cookie cake earlier. So
Yeah. Or you know what?
that's
You want
my
to eat
that's
some
my weakness.
want to buy some raw cookie dough and eat that? Like do that. Just don't do it all the time. Like don't
Yes.
make it a habit. Make it a treat.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's what we mean by conscious eating. Like, don't eat
Hmm.
by default. Don't eat when you're full. Like, really ask yourself, is it, does this make me feel good when I eat it? Like, don't just eat it because you have to eat it or you feel like you have to eat it or
Hmm.
you are also
Or
another
you're
thing is
bored.
eating. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Another thing is eating when you don't even need to be eating.
Yeah. You're
Sometimes
just like,
it makes me think of the Grinch when you said that, but am I eating because I'm bored? When it's eating the glass. Anyway, we as humans, and especially as Americans, I feel like a lot of people tend to do that.
yes.
When you get bored, you just
It's a
automatically go into default, just eating junk.
it
And a
is
lot of
it's
times,
funny how
it's
default it
like
is.
asking yourself, like Morgan said earlier, asking yourself why. Like,
Hmm.
what is it I'm eating to feel right now that I'm trying to get from this food? Because this food is not going to give me that thing.
Hmm.
It's all about emotions, right? That's being
Hmm.
emotionally intelligent with
Yeah.
yourself, knowing what you want. That's the self-care. Like,
Yeah.
and I will promise you, as you start speaking your truth, telling people what you want, asking for what you want, and being conscious of these things, you're not going to be emotional eating as much because you're going to be filled up with those things that you are needing.
Hmm.
Where a lot of people just turn to food instead of asking for what they want or saying what they need.
That's true.
So,
And I will say that I've always been a picky eater and I've really started to
same,
expand my palate. I should say it's
yeah,
a fancy word. You can
by
you can
choice,
discover some really delicious healthy food. Like
yeah,
there's some really yummy things that we make that are pretty healthy and
I've
I'm
heard of some
surprised how
really good
enjoyable it
things.
is. And then you get the benefit of like, oh, it tastes really good and I enjoy eating it, but it's also good for me. And then
Yeah,
that's really exciting. You're like, oh, and then you don't eat too much. You don't overstuff yourself or you're miserable the rest of the night because you just
yeah,
like
because
gorge.
nobody likes to
Like
fill up.
Thanksgiving dinner, you're just like gorging yourself
Oh
on
my
like
God,
all this
I,
food.
I don't do that. I just can't do that. I'll take
I
like little
do.
portions. I'll eat
Mashed
a little
potatoes
bit.
and gravy.
No, I like that stuff, but I'll do it in smaller portions and I'll let it digest and then I'll go back and get more later.
I try to do that. I'm getting better because my body, when I'm listening to my body, it's telling me like, you feel like shit when you eat like way too much. Like, you
Yeah.
don't want to feel like this. Enjoy, like, chew slower. Like, you don't have to
Oh my
eat
God,
so fast. Just
that's the biggest thing.
enjoy the flavor. Like, really taste it and be intentional
Don't
about
inhale
your
it.
eating. Yeah, don't just like what is that? Because I'll catch myself doing that. I'm like, I'm just eating so fast because it tastes so good, and then you're on your second helping and you're miserable, and you're like, why can't I just slowly eat and enjoy this food that I
Yeah.
obviously love because I'm eating so much of it? It's a weird programming.
And drinking water is another thing. You
Yes.
are made up of mostly water, and I don't care who you are, you need to be drinking water. I'm not saying don't have coffee or pop or
Right.
soda, whatever, also,
No.
or tea, but drink mostly water. I feel like I have a sneeze coming.
Oh.
If it
I'm
comes out, it comes
surprised.
out.
I hear people that I'm like, when's the last time you had water? They're like, I don't know. I just drink Diet Coke all the time or something. I'm like, so you don't drink water? Like, you haven't had water in
Please
like
treat
3 days? My God. Have a glass of water. Well, it doesn't taste good. You're like, Water. It's not,
Me
it's
and my mom have
water.
that conversation a lot.
Water. It's not
You
supposed to
need
like
it
taste.
to function
It's
properly.
yeah. You need to be hydrated because your body's 70% water. You will die without
Um,
water. Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going back to Darcy's comments. She said
Yeah.
emotional eating. I'm so guilty of emotional eating.
I do it too.
So,
Sometimes,
Darcy, I
obviously.
have a
Yeah.
question for you, and you may not be able to answer. This emotional eating, what emotion usually triggers it that you want to eat? Like, what is it sadness? Is it anxiety? Is it boredom? Is it anger? Like, what is it that normally triggers your emotional eating? If you want to share, you don't have to, but if you decide to,
Yeah.
if you're even still on.
Yeah. Let's see.
Water is my favorite liquid. Good.
That's good.
That's the best.
Fruit infused water is good for people that are like, it tastes weird. Like, put some lemons in there or strawberries or mint or whatever. Fruit infused water can change up water a little bit.
Yeah.
Stress. Ah, yeah.
Stress.
Stress.
So, have you always had that emotional eating habit with stress? Has it been that way your whole life, or can you go back and remember when that kind of started for you? I'm just curious. And you, like I said, you don't have to share, but if you are open to sharing, we'll kind of work through this and see if we can find the root, because I'm curious.
That's good. Get
I'm a
into the root
gardener. I
cause.
love to find the root. Ava said, I wish I could have you here with me. I so need conscious awareness. You are here with us,
Yeah.
and we're here with
in
you.
space. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just about sharing the space and consciously going through these things together. So the more you get in tune to this, the more you're going to be able to catch it yourself. She said, I'm not sure. So she didn't know when it started. Good question.
If you did know, what would the answer
What
be?
would it be? If you had to really think about it, like when this started,
Yeah.
off the top of your head, when would that time frame be for you that it started? What were you doing in life? How old were you? I have a little fuzzy floating around me. Okay.
Oh, those are weird. You're like, oh my gosh, there's a thing.
I know nobody else could probably see it, but I could see it.
Or you get the little eye with the eye swimmers. Is that what they call them?
Oh, yeah,
You ever
yeah,
get
those
those?
things.
Those
I
guys are
see them a
weird.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are weird.
So if you don't want to answer, that's fine too. I would say just notice when you're stressed out, what we talked about earlier in the self-care. And if I don't know if you were on the very beginning, you can go back and watch, but just focusing on your breathing instead of just jumping into filling yourself with whatever this food is, because you're trying to get something. What is this food giving you? What do you get when, there it is again, when you're stressed? What is it the food is giving you so you think? Because that's the thing that you're craving that you need to give yourself otherwise, just by you. So that's
I'm trying to think through this too because I can be kind of a stress eater too, and a boredom eater. I'm a stress and a boredom eater. But
I've done
but when
boredom
it's
before.
stress, it's almost like so for me when it's stress, it's usually like a sugary thing, and I think it's my addiction to sugar. So it's like a drug addiction almost. You take a hit and you're like, this tastes good
That's
and
what
it
I was about
feels
to
good.
say. It's similar to like a smoker, right? When they feel stressed, they'll go to chain smoking, and it's because that boosted. Is it dopamine? Which one's the feel good?
I think
think
that's
it's dopamine.
Yeah.
But basically, that's what's happening. And correct me if it's not dopamine, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. When a smoker is taking a hit of a cigarette, that hit they're taking raises that dopamine every hit. So that's why they feel good and they do it. And even though you're like, oh, it's disgusting, to them it feels great. And it's no different than us.
Yeah.
When we're talking about
Emotional eating and
emotional eating, yeah.
yeah.
You're doing it to replace something, and that sugar or whatever it is you're eating is making you feel good. You might also look at what it is you're eating. So like Morgan said, if it's something sugary, okay, is it because you're wanting the sugar, or is it a certain dish that you eat to make you feel good? An example would be like apple pie. Does this apple pie remind you of somebody that made you feel good, or that used to comfort you maybe when you were a little kid and you were feeling stressed, or something that reminds you of a certain person, place, time? Look at what it is that you go to eat.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's chocolate, because in their brains they've wired chocolate. Not me, but I'm just saying a lot of people.
I like ice cream. Like I like because and I don't. I'm trying to think if there's like
I love ice
any.
cream.
I mean, it's just so good, and there's so many different flavors that you can do. So there's
I just
choices,
go with vanilla, and that's good enough for
and
me.
it's just yeah. There's the Baked Bear has this.
Oh yeah,
Their
homemade ice
bear
cream
batter.
sandwich.
It's like birthday cake mixed with brownie ice cream or something. It's
Wow,
amazing.
that sounds
I love
intense.
it, and I want to eat it right now. It's making me hungry.
Diabetes. I'm just kidding. She
Yeah,
said,
order up. I can have it delivered.
I'm just not sure when it started. I know I feel others in their energy. I've never liked conflict, but I'm learning to build boundaries for myself. Okay, so yours might be just taking on other people's shit. So yes, setting boundaries, where we talked about at the beginning, speaking your truth, telling people when it's not okay, to treat you certain ways, or to speak to you certain ways. That is part of that, and that's part of speaking your truth, and it's part of setting your boundary, because you're teaching people how to treat you or how not to treat you. If that makes sense. So, and the other thing with that, I would say, just really pay attention to who you're around, who starts making you feel that way, and then you notice you start eating. And that's what we talked about earlier, like depending on who it is, do you want that person in your life if that's the way they make you feel?
Yeah.
And then you make a conscious decision from that, whether it's just not being around them as often or maybe expressing to them how they make you feel or whatever. Just make a conscious decision and conscious conversations about it.
Yes. I can personally say when you can cut certain people's energy out of your life,
It changes
it
everything.
changes everything. It really does.
You can't even explain it how much it changes
Oh,
things.
it's like a weight off. It's
Weight,
like a if you can just
a
imagine
heaviness,
like an energy that's just like bleh, like it latches
like
onto
a
you. Like
leech.
energy vampires, you know? And they're just
Leech.
like and you're like, "Ooh, get off of me.
Get off.
I don't even like it." And then when you don't have to worry about it anymore, you're just
You just feel
there's
different.
space. You're just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm like
Yeah,
it's free. I can breathe."
I
So,
agree.
yeah.
Well, do you have anything else that you want to cover as far as the self-care? We covered a lot of it.
We did. We
We'll go
covered
back and post
a
the
lot.
links.
Yes, yeah, you have all those links. That'll be good. I posted the link to the group, the Awaken group, where we can share random
Okay.
things. I shared like a random thing in there, the stuff that I like. Like, we're nuts, but it's nice
No,
to
that's
have a
the
spot
point.
where you can do those things because then you can
Yep.
find the other
Let it go. Let it
weirdos,
fly.
the other
Yeah.
weirdos that connect with you, and you can talk about your weird stuff.
What if
Um,
we're the normal people, though?
I like to think that sometimes. I'm like, weird is
You're allowed to think
good.
that. It's all about perspective,
And
right?
when I say weird, I don't mean it like in a
Nope.
negative way.
I
Weird
think we
for
talked about
me
that.
is like you're just weird. Like you're just different.
Unique,
You're
different,
unique and like
outside the box.
you don't want to be in the box. The
You
box
think
is
a little different. You
boring.
look at different
So
perspectives.
weird
Yeah.
is positive for me. So if I call you a
Same.
weirdo, it's a good thing because I call
It's an
myself a
endearing
weirdo.
compliment
It
from
is.
Morgan
It
or
means I
myself.
love you. It means I love you. If you're a
Yeah.
weirdo, you're a fellow weirdo and you're in my tribe.
You're
Um,
accepted here. All
yes.
right,
But
guys. Well, there's the link in the group. So back to the comments. Morgan shared that. So if you want to join the group, just click in there and then we'll go through and accept you. I'll go back and add the links that we talked about earlier about the 2 videos, or there's one video, one article I want to share in here about the things we talked about earlier. Other than that, we're live every Wednesday night at 8:30 Central Standard Time. And we always look forward to getting on here and having you guys interact with us because that is what this is. It's an open dialogue conversation. This is not us just talking to you, it's us talking with you. And you guys have just as much to offer as we do, bringing it to the table. So we really like when you guys interact with us and we really appreciate it. And then if you know someone who would benefit from this, like let them know, share it with them. I don't know. There's just lots of things you can do, and you can also join the group, like we said, to be part of a community so that you can have that interaction with other people because you're not alone. We're in all this together. You're never alone, and that's why we created this space. So, you got anything
so
else?
true. No, I think that's good. The time always goes so fast. I'm like, it's 10:10. That's crazy.
I know. 10, 10, 220. I'm just kidding. Wasn't it like a 1-800 thing? It was like 10, 10, 220 on the payphones. I don't know.
Oh, what was that? Was a long time
I
ago.
think so.
That's gonna bug me now, darn it.
Sorry. I'll look it up and
What
send you
is
the
that?
link. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing
Yep.
you next week. And if you want to interact with us before then, just join the group and we're available. So thank you, guys.
Yep. All right.
See
Good
you later.
night.
Have a good night.